You are about to cross into a world where fear is real. Real stories, unexplained phenomena where the supernatural lurks in the shadows. From the portal of dread, today's story, the living legend of the Jardim das Alamandas Cemetery. Welcome to the portal of dread. Here, your fears find a voice, and every story could be your last. Before you turn out the light, have you ever felt when someone invades your sacred territory? It's like a vibration in the air, a chill that cuts through the darkness like a blade. Every footstep on my land resonates in my bones, dormant for decades. Tonight, 4 young heartbeats echo through the gate of the Alamanda Garden, shattering the silence I have guarded for so long. But allow me to introduce them properly. After all, knowing your prey makes the hunt much more interesting. Rafael Santos, 22 years old, the leader of the group. Dark hair always slicked back with gel, designer clothes that scream, "I have money." Son of a construction magnate in Londrina, he's always had everything handed to him. But behind this facade of confidence, Rafael carries the weight of never being able to impress his father. Every video he produces is a desperate attempt to prove his worth. He doesn't know it yet, but he chose my cemetery because it was here that his paternal grandfather was buried in 1985, 2 years before my death. The old Santos despised his grandson, calling him weak and spoiled. Rafael has never visited the grave. Tonight, fate will finally reunite them. Jessica Oliveira, 19 years old, the group's sensitive. Purple hair that she dyed to scandalize her evangelical mother, piercings that conceal a deep shyness. Works part-time in a flower shop, an irony she doesn't yet understand. Jessica lost her father in a car accident when she was 12 and has seen things ever since, felt presences. She came tonight not for the adventure, but because the alamanda flowers she sells in the shop wither every time she touches them. She needs to understand why. Oh dear child, you will understand much more than you imagine. Thiago Mendes, 21 years old, the rational skeptic. Engineering student at UEL, son of middle-class teachers. Uses skepticism as armor against irrational fears that have tormented him since childhood. Suffers from panic attacks that he hides from his friends with jokes and bravado. He's here to prove to himself that ghosts don't exist, that the voices he hears in the dark of his room are just his imagination. Poor boy. Tonight his scientific certainties will crumble like sandcastles. Matheus Ferreira, 20 years old, the born documentarian. Always with a camera in hand, son of a humble family from the South Zone. He lost his mother when he was 16, cancer that slowly consumed her. Since then, he obsessively documents everything, as if he could capture and preserve each moment before it disappears. Matheus isn't seeking terror or fame. He's seeking answers about what happens after death. Where are those we love when they depart? Ah, dear boy, you are about to discover that some never truly leave. I hear their voices for the first time, each carrying the weight of their personal histories. It's like a vibration in the air, a shiver that cuts through the darkness like a blade. Each step on my land resonates in my bones, dormant for decades. Tonight, 4 young heartbeats echo through the gate of the Alamanda's garden, shattering the silence I've protected for so long. They don't know it yet, but they've already sealed their fates the moment they stepped onto the damp gravel of the entrance. The scent of fear already hangs in the cold air of Londrina, mixed with the humidity of the paranormal winter that makes the mist dance among the cypress trees. 23 years. It's been 23 years since anyone dared to challenge my nocturnal vigil. The last ones who tried, well, their voices still echo among the alamandas when the wind blows stronger. Now these reckless young people carry their cameras and their nervous laughter, thinking they're just going to record another horror hangout for their social media. What touching naivete! They talk about the legend of the Guardian of Silence, as if it were just a story to scare children. They don't know that I can feel every word they utter my name. Every mockery they make of my existence only fuels the hunger that grows within me. Do you have the courage to discover what happened to them? My name was Dalva Cristina. What a strange word for someone who still exists, only in a different form. In 1987, I was only 19 years old when my life became forever intertwined with this place. I was the night caretaker of the Alamandas garden, a job no one wanted, watching over the dead while the city slept. But I liked the silence, the peace that cemeteries offered. Here, far from the problems back home in Villanova, I found my tranquility. I worked from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., walking among the Alamandas with my flashlight, checking if everything was in order. I knew every tombstone, every story etched in marble. Dona Conceição, who died at 95 surrounded by her grandchildren. Seu João, a blue-collar worker from the north side who fell on a construction site. Each soul had its own personality, and I would converse with them during the solitary early hours. But on the night of September 13th, 1987, 3 young men from Gleba Palhano decided it would be fun to desecrate some of the older graves. They were intoxicated, coming from a party, and thought messing with the dead would be the perfect adventure to end the night. I confronted them near the Stern family mausoleum. "Hey, you can't be here! Respect those who rest!" I shouted, running towards them with my flashlight in hand. What they did to me that night, what they did to my body, it transformed my soul into something that even death couldn't take away. They left me bleeding amongst the alamanda flowers, thinking no one would discover me until dawn. But I didn't die alone. My rage, my pain, my need to protect this sacred place, all of it tethered me here. When they found my body the next morning, it was too late. My soul had already fused with the essence of this cemetery. Now, decades later, I sense the same disrespect, the same violation. These 4 youths carry cameras instead of bottles, but the intention is the same, to turn my sanctuary into entertainment. Not again. Never again. The years have passed, and my story has become an urban legend in Londrina. The guardian of silence. They whisper in the local schools. The girl who died, protecting the cemetery, and now haunts those who disturb the dead. What a distorted version of the truth. The first time I manifested was in 1994. A couple of lovers decided to use one of the oldest catacombs for their intimate rendezvous. I felt the desecration like a stab to the soul. I appeared to them as a pale shadow among the alamandas, whispering warnings that turned their hair white overnight. They spread the story, and soon all of Londrina knew, don't go to the Jardim das Alamandas after midnight, or the guardian will get you. Over time, groups of courageous teenagers began to test me. They came in droves, making bets, recording with amateur cameras to prove their bravery. Most ran at the first whisper of wind through the cypresses, but some required deeper lessons. In 2001, 2 young men attempted to steal bronze ornaments from the most expensive gravestones. They were found the following morning, catatonic, repeating only, "She won't let us, she won't let us." They spent weeks hospitalized at the university hospital before they could speak normally. The residents of Villanova, who know my story, leave fresh alamanda flowers at the gate every September 13th. They understand that I am not a monster. I am a protector, a soul who chose to stay to maintain the peace of those who have departed. But these 4 youngsters today, they did not come with respect. They came with mockery. Have you heard this legend? 10:47 p.m. I hear their voices for the first time. "Dude, look at the size of this place. It's going to make insane content for TikTok," says the tallest one, who they call Rafa. He's carrying a professional camera, the kind that YouTubers use. He has that irritating confidence of young people who have never faced real consequences. "Man, I'm already bricking it," murmurs the girl with purple hair, Jessica. She senses my presence more than the others. There's always one in the group who is more sensitive. "Did you guys hear that story about the guy who went crazy here?" "Relax, Jay. It's just an urban legend to scare gullible people," Thiago retorts, fiddling with his cell phone. My cousin has lived here in Gleba Palhano for years and has never seen anything of the sort. The fourth is Matheus, quieter, filming everything with his cell phone. He doesn't talk much, but his eyes dart nervously between the shadows. Good. Fear makes everything more flavorful. They pass by the first tombs making jokes, reading names aloud with exaggerated accents. Here lies Joaquim Santos. Died of old age. How boring. Each laugh echoes between the gravestones like a slap in my existence. Time for the first lesson. I make the wind stop completely. The silence that follows is unnatural. Not even the crickets dare to sing when I exert my dominion. Jessica is the first to notice. Guys, don't you think it's gotten weird? Like, too silent. It's a cemetery, moron. Of course it's silent. Rafa continues filming, but his voice has lost some of its confidence. Then, I whisper my first warning. A single word, charged in the cold air. Leave. The sound comes from everywhere and nowhere, echoing among the Alamandas as if the earth itself spoke. Jessica grabs Thiago's arm, and even Matheus stops filming for a second. Did you guys hear that? Jessica is almost whispering now. It was just the wind in the trees. Relax. Thiago tries to sound convincing, but I see his hands trembling slightly. Not yet, my young intruders. We're only just beginning our dance. They decide to investigate where the voice came from. What delicious irony, hunting precisely that which hunts them. I subtly guide them down the path I want them to take. A leaf that sways when there's no wind, a shadow that moves between the tombstones. They follow like lambs, documenting every piece of evidence with their cameras. Check this out, Matheus finally says, pointing to the worn tombstone where my body was found. Dalva Cristina, 1968-1987. Man, she was only 19 years old. My dead heart still quickens upon hearing my name being spoken. There is power in that. Wait a minute. Jessica crouches down, reading the inscription more closely. Night caretaker, died on duty. Guys, what if the legend is about her? What legend exactly? Rafa continues filming, but now with genuine interest. My grandmother always said that a girl died here in the 80s, trying to protect the cemetery from vandals. They say she still watches over the place. Oh dear grandmother, at least someone remembered the truth. Then I show them the first real glimpse of me. Not completely, not yet, just a pale silhouette among the Alamandas, seen from the corner of Thiago's eye. Holy crap! There's someone there! He points with the flashlight, but when the beam of light reaches the spot, it finds only swaying flowers. Where? I didn't see anything? Rafa turns the camera in that direction. I swear I saw a woman in a white dress. Now even the skeptics are starting to doubt. Matheus reviews the cell phone video in slow motion. Oh guys, there's something weird in this recording. On the pixelated screen, a translucent shape appears for exactly 3 frames between the trees. It's not me, it's just a suggestion, a shadow that could be anything. But for minds already shaken by fear, it's enough evidence. Now do you believe? I whisper again, this time closer. They huddle together instinctively, cameras pointed in all directions. What's your theory about this? Now that I've planted the seed of fear, it's time to make it grow. They try to leave through the main entrance, but what a surprise. The gate is locked. Of course it is. I've controlled this place for decades. Every bolt, every hinge obeys my will. What the hell? I'm sure we left it open. Rafa shakes the gate forcefully, but the metal remains immobile as if it were part of the earth itself. Calm down, there must be another way. Thiago tries to sound rational, but the sweat on his face gleams under the flashlight's beam. Cemeteries always have an emergency exit. How naive. I am the only way out of here. While they wander around looking for another escape, I begin my true presentation. The alamanda bushes around the graves begin to wither and darken, as if life itself were being sucked from them. The process is slow, hypnotic, golden petals turning black, stems bending like arthritic fingers. Jessica notices it first. Guys, the flowers? What the heck, dude? Matheus films the dying plants in real time. I've never seen anything like it. Then I raise the temperature of my territory by a few degrees, just enough to create a dense fog that appears out of nowhere. The moisture in the air condenses instantly, transforming the cemetery into a labyrinth of thick mist. "This can't be natural fog," Jessica whispers. "It was clear 2 minutes ago." The fog isn't random. It guides them, separates them, confuses them. First, Matheus gets lost from the group when he rounds a corner between the mausoleums. His cries echo, distorted. "Guys, where are you? I can't see anything." "Matheus, follow our voices," Rafa shouts back, but his voice also sounds muffled, coming from impossible directions. That's when I display my true power. The tombstones begin to sweat, not water, but a dark, viscous liquid that smells of damp, decaying earth. The words engraved in the marble begin to glow with a blue-green light, as if they were written with radioactive ink. "This isn't possible." Thiago is filming everything, but his hands are shaking so much that the images are completely blurred. "Guys, I think we should have listened to the legend." From the center of the fog, my voice echoes amplified, as if it were coming from invisible speakers scattered throughout the cemetery. "You came to find a story. Now you will become the story." Jessica lets out a scream that cuts through the night like breaking glass, but the sound is abruptly cut off, as if someone had covered her mouth. In the silence that follows, only 3 heartbeats remain. What would you do in this situation? Jessica disappeared into the fog like smoke dissolving into the air. The 3 remaining huddled together, forming a pathetic defensive circle with their cameras and flashlights. Jessica!" Rafa shouts until his voice is hoarse, but only the echo answers, distorted and mocking. Now I can reveal myself completely. I materialize slowly in front of them, not as the young caretaker I once was, but as what I have become. My skin has the pallor of ancient marble. My eyes gleam with the same blue-green light as the inscriptions. The white dress I wear is stained with decades of earth, and small alamander flowers grow in my hair like a macabre crown. Holy shit. Thiago drops his phone. The screen cracks against a tombstone, but it continues filming, capturing our final dance from a grotesque angle. "You wanted to meet the Guardian?" My voice sounds like wind through hollow bones. "Well, here I am." Rafa, still trying to be the brave leader, points the camera at me. "What do you want from us?" "The same thing I wanted from those 3 in 1987. Respect. Silence. And when I cannot obtain them, I let the threat hang in the air like the mist itself. We didn't do anything. We were just filming." "Filming?" My form distorts with rage, becoming larger, darker, turning my sanctuary into a spectacle, mocking the dead for entertainment. It is then that Matheus, who had remained silent, whispers something that makes me pause. We can tell your story for real. The real story, not as an urban legend, but as..." He swallows hard. "There's a tribute." For a moment, I consider it. The mist hesitates around me. A tribute. My voice softens slightly. "What kind of tribute?" "We can erase everything we filmed today. Make a video about Dalva Cristina, the caretaker who died protecting this place. Show who you really were." Rafa understands quickly. "Yes, we can bring flowers, organize a vigil, make people respect your memory. For decades I have been just the haunting of the cemetery, a monster in horror stories. No one has ever offered to tell my truth." But then, from the depths of the mist, comes Jessica's trembling voice. "Please, let me out. I promise I'll never come back." Ah, yes. I almost forgot about her. I look at the 3 before me. The choice is theirs now. I can release them for a price. "You may go." But she stays. Someone needs to pay for the desecration. Someone needs company. The agreement was sealed with tears and desperate promises. 3 left the Alamander garden that dawn. 1 remained. Jessica did not suffer, at least not in the way you might imagine. She simply joined the silence. Her soul now walks with me among the alamanda bushes, tending to the flowers, helping to maintain the peace of those who rest. Sometimes on the coldest nights you can see her from afar, a young woman with purple hair arranging fresh bouquets on the most neglected graves. She understood in the end. She understood that death and life are just different states of being. Here, among those who have departed, she found a purpose she never had in life. The three lads fulfilled their promise. A week later, Rafa posted a 40-minute video telling my true story, not as a haunting, but as Dalva Cristina, the young caretaker who loved her job and died protecting those who could no longer protect themselves. The video garnered 2 million views in a month. People started leaving flowers on my grave. Thiago organized an annual vigil every September 13th. Matheus created a Facebook group called Memories of the Alamanda Garden, where locals share stories about their loved ones buried here. For the first time in decades, I feel complete. But be warned, that doesn't mean I've become harmless. I'm still the guardian of silence. I still protect this sacred place. The difference is that now you know who I really am. If you come here with respect to honor the dead or visit their memories, you will find peace. Sometimes you might even feel a gentle breeze among the alamandas, carrying the scent of the flowers. That's me welcoming you. But if you come as those four did, seeking amusement at the expense of those who rest, treating our sanctuary as a backdrop for your games, well, Jessica might need company. The Alamanda Garden is always open to new residents. And what if I told you that this story might not be over? Sometimes the past has ways of repeating itself. If you know any legend from your region that should be told, send it to us. Subscribe because every week I unearth stories that time has tried to hide. Some things exist beyond our comprehension. Sleep well if you can. And until the next video from the Portal of Dread,